So before we begin this video, there will be different deals when it comes to online shops and also some retail stores. So if you are really going to get a laptop that is really worth the budget for video editing with some gaming, of course, in this episode, I'm going to give you guys the top 10 laptops under 50,000 pesos for gaming. So with that being said, let us get right to the deals. So on the first one, we have the Acer Nitro 5. And this one is still one of the most affordable types of laptops that Acer really did offer a great deal for this kind of laptop to have an IPS display, an AMD Ryzen 5 3550H with a 1TB hard drive and a 256GB SSD, packed with 4GB of RAM and a free 4GB upgrade. This one has an RX 560X that will give you potential in terms of gaming without any kind of problems for the price of $49.99. On to the next one, we have the Asus. So this is the future me, and we have the second deal right here, which is on number 2. So what you can see, we have the MSI GF63 Thin. The only difference though, it has an 8th generation 8300H with 8GB of RAM and a 256GB SSD. But what you can see here, we have an Nvidia GTX 1650 with Max Q. So this is a really great deal for 42,000 pesos. So with that being said, to the next one, we have the Lenovo Ideapad L340. Even though this one is really affordable, it stays sleeker, stealthier with that blue look when it comes to this kind of laptop. We have a Nitro Core i5-9300H with 4GB of RAM and a 512GB SSD. The GTX 1050, like I said on the previous video, where I have benchmarked the GTX 1050 in terms of the 4GB variant, where you can have 4GB free if you want to upgrade. Well, this one costs around 42,995. On to the next one, we have the Acer Nitro 5 that you can see on the previous one. However, what you have here is a 250GB NVMe SSD with a 1TB hard drive. Since this one has 4GB of dedicated video card, still the same RX 560X with the Ryzen 5 3550, this laptop is really reasonable for the price of 43,999. On to the next one, we have the Dell G3 15. Even though this one is still one of the best laptops that you can see despite its stealthier look, but it packs a punch when it comes to its specs. With its 4GB dedicated GTX 1050, 1TB hard drive, 4GB of RAM, and an i5-8300H, this is by far really great when it comes to video editing if you are really onto it, which you can have an additional 4GB DDR4 memory for the price of 43,990. On to the next one, we have the Lenovo Ideapad 330. So this one is using a Core i7-8750H with 4GB of RAM. What's really great about this, it has a 1TB packed with a 16GB Intel Optane memory. This is really a great laptop though, even though for its 17-inch, you have a 4GB GTX 1050 that will boost the performance when it comes to video editing and content creation work. But for gaming, no problem for the price of 44,995. On the next one, we have the MSI Gaming Pro GF63. The GF63 Thin is one of the most portable gaming laptops that many people would appreciate. But despite all which, you have a 9300H Intel Core i5 processor, 1TB hard drive with 4GB of GTX 1050 Ti this time, and you have an additional upgrade memory to 8GB. For the price of 44,995, this is by far one of the sleekest laptops with some of the muted design. So on to the next one, we have the Dell G3 15 again. But the only difference though, it has a 9300H with 4GB of RAM, a 128GB SSD pack with a 1TB hard drive. Still, you have a GTX 1050 that is really good when it comes to its performance. And for the price of 46,990, that is really a good deal for gaming, especially if you are going to do some video editing workload, since the 9300H is really a great processor. On to the next one, we have the Acer Nitro 5 AN515. Again, so many Acer, so many Dells and Lenovos. But what you can see here is that this laptop is really great despite its specification. You have a GTX 1650 with 9300H that has a 120Hz panel with 4GB of RAM and a 1TB hard drive. You can get this one with an additional 4GB to 8GB of RAM, and that is really highly recommended by this point in time if you want to play some Call of Duty Warzone. For the price of $46,999, that is not a bad deal. And for the last one, we have the Asus X571GT. So the GT is really great when it comes to its color scheme, but packs a punch when it comes to its performance. Despite all which, you have 8GB of RAM this time with a 9300H 1650 with 4GB of dedicated video memory, 512GB SSD, and 8GB of RAM for $49,995. This is a huge sweet spot for gaming if you are really onto the GTX 1650 with an SSD and 8GB of RAM with no problems at all. So those are the top 10 laptops under 50,000 pesos for gaming. If you want to see more of this video, go hit the thumbs up button, sub, and hit the bell notification. And this is Norms, and I'm signing out for now.